What's up, guys? If you are into music reaction channels that are honest, raw, and authentic, look no further. You found your destination. It is the Taz and Philly Show. Welcome to our journey.
And make sure that you subscribe below and enjoy the show.
What is good, you sexy son of a guns? It is Philly. That is Taz. It's the Taz and Philly Show, and we are back with another reaction video. What's good, guys? It's Philly and Taz, and we are back with our first reaction interview. And we're going to be looking at an interview with the great British artist Ren. The gentleman that is interviewing him is named Sam. It does not have a last name there, but it is called Under the Spotlight. I thought this would be cool because obviously Taz and I have just started getting ourselves familiar with Ren. I don't know. We've done a bunch of songs so far, but don't really know him as a person. We're hoping that this gives us an opportunity to learn more, see what he's all about, kind of maybe see what his influences are. I'm not really sure where the interview goes yet because we have not heard it. But with that being said, we know that he's been suffering from some sicknesses and been going through some misdiagnosis. So I don't know. Maybe we get to hear a little bit about what's been going on in his life. Very curious myself. I mean, we have a lot of subscribers that are just, finding Ren just along as we have. And obviously others that have been fans of his for a long time and might maybe have seen this. But if you haven't, I hope you get a chance to experience it with us. And for anybody that's more intrigued to learn more about Ren, hopefully we get a little bit of tidbit here. So, Taz, what do you have to say? And then I guess we can get into it. I think it's an 8-minute interview, and hopefully it'll be
Right.
pretty enlightening here.
Right. Yeah, it's roughly 8 minutes. Neither one of us have seen this interview yet. It's something new that we're bringing to the channel. So this is our first one, as Philly had said. Um, I also wanted to thank all of you subscribers because this is actually our first video since we have reached over 1,000 subscribers. So woohoo!
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
You can clap for both of us. All right.
I clap for both of us. So listen, I've said it in many videos, so I'm especially saying it now, and this speaks for Philly and I. There would not be a Taz in Philly without you guys. So we just thank you so much for the love, support, the commentary inside the comments and everything like that. It's just so amazing how what a great feeling it is. It's hard to describe, but basically, without all of you, it would make it harder to do these reactions and to think of innovative ways to stand out if there
Yeah.
was nobody that cared or said anything. So we thank you for that.
Yeah, if you would have told me, I feel like we've had this channel now for like a month and 2 weeks. That's about what it's been. And I remember when him and I dressed up because we got to our first 100 subscribers. And, that was a milestone because we got there way earlier than what YouTube analytics tell you typically a new channel will get there in. And we thought it was really cool. If you would have told me at that point, well, we would be over 1,100 at this point. I mean, the growth has been stunning and it's been a lot of fun. This is, a passion for him and I's music and, love being able to share it with you guys. We're going to continue to try to keep this channel real and have you guys steered in the direction that you want it to go in. And we hope that, we do these little like side kind of ventures with interviews. It just helps you grow an appreciation for the artist even that much more. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm excited. This has been unbelievable, and we can't thank you guys enough. So, unless Taz has a little bit more he wants to say, we can
Yeah.
get into this interview.
Yeah. So just quickly, I just want to say, with the reaction interviews, there is not going to be an ass or a pass. I mean, it really wouldn't make sense.
What if the interview is
So,
horrible, though?
well, we can say stuff like that, but we're not going to do the ass or pass because
I'm
it's not
just
an
kidding.
actual.
Yeah,
Shut up.
it's all good.
We're obviously going to give our thoughts if the interview was good. Oh, they asked great questions, or oh, they should have asked this question, things of that nature, and give like an overall how we felt the interview was. Um, the same thing applies. Is please be a part of the conversation and say stuff in the comments what you liked about it, what question maybe you would have asked if you were the interviewer. But other than that, it's again something new that we're trying. Again, this is our first reaction interview. So I'm pretty excited to see how it goes by the views and what you guys say. So without further ado, oh, and then also in every description, I'm always going to have the actual link to the full interview in case we do somehow like talk over the interview or stop it or whatever. The actual link will be in the description. So without further ado, let's start this. It's about 8 minutes, 39 seconds, it says.
Hey guys, I'm Sam. I'm here with my boy Ren, and I'm going to be speaking today. Can you not say yo? Because it's really thrown me off. It's really thrown me off. Sorry.
Ren, take one, scene one.
Hey guys, I'm Sam. This is my boy Ren, and we're going to be speaking today for Scott's Menswear. So Ren, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going all right, mate.
Been
Bit cold.
Been a bit of a terrible year, hasn't it?
Such a bleak start.
It's so bad. But it's true though.
It is about a year ago.
You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. It's the facts. Yeah, sorry for getting deep, but I mean that is the case.
Yeah. We are in pandemic.
Would you say that's like affected your, I don't know, like your musicianship at all? Has it affected your creativity?
It's weird. I think we just all adapt, don't we? Like to what comes. So like, yeah, in the sense that we're not out busking all the time. I'm not busking with you. I'm not busking with the boys. I'm not playing shows like that.
That's Sam Tompkins.
Basically like the main thing that feeds you as a musician. But then,
oh, is it?
You just have to change what you're doing. So I'm like writing a lot.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I only seen it once. Could be. You're right. Could be right.
Yeah, it's just kind of that. You just kind of take what it is. It's so weird how something as big as this gets normalized. It's made me like realise so much how we take for granted just being able to see somebody, because never in a million years would you imagine a situation where you can't go and give like your family love when something like that happens.
It's like if you told me, like, this is a classic line, I'm sure everyone said this, but if you told me last year that that would have been an eventuality that I would have had to deal with, or you would have had to deal with this year,
our lifetime.
like even in our lifetimes, at any point before last March, I would have gone, you are absolutely having a laugh, like no way. Like, because like what could come about and do that to us?
It's cool seeing them talking,
it's the
like,
case.
not in the video.
So do you think that with everything that's happened, the way you approach music, and like over the last 6 months, because in this country we've been like, it's been very up and down, our situation. Do you think that your music reflects the time that you made it in, or do you think that it's more like you wanted to avoid that and just make something that's really special that can last forever and can be in any time?
I think for me, like,
Good question.
yes and no, because I had like you know this, because I was like really sick with Lyme disease for like 8 years. I spent
8 years? I didn't know it was
the
that
majority
long.
of those 8 years in a bedroom anyway, like locked inside the bedroom. The only difference with this time and then was then I felt horrible. I felt like I had all these really bad symptoms. I was feeling terrible all the time. So a lot of my writing during that time was about being in isolation with an illness. And this time it's like, that's why I was like, it was like, I'm feeling great, yes, I'm gonna go back to the real world. It's like, nah. Back in the room, I was like, oh, cool life, thanks man. But like, but now it's a different situation, because I'm in isolation, but I have a fully capable body. I'm not suffering with all these symptoms all the time. So it's like a different thing. But like, writing wise, it's like a lot of my work has been quite centered around that, around like feeling kind of like isolated and cut off.
Okay. Wow.
And there are so many people that are going through those chronic illness things that need to hear that there are stories of people that are moving past it, because like when I was in it, all I wanted to do was seek out stories of people who had gotten better, because like that's what made me feel like
motivated.
It was the life was worth hanging on for, because I was like, oh, so if that person can do it, then maybe I can do it. And like, now that I've gotten to a place where I'm like, not only gotten out of this like nightmare that I was living in, but also then managed to build somewhat of a successful career for myself.
You've done
it's
so
like,
well.
I would like that to be reflected, rather than me just still writing songs about isolation. Like, I like that to be reflected and bring a bit more of a message of hope and stuff. But yeah, like you're saying, like, you don't have to be sick to listen to it and then relate to it. So like, even at a time like at the moment, like mental health problems have well shot up for people who are just inside all the time. So I almost feel responsible for people who are listening to me to give them something that's a little bit more hopeful than just like, I'm ready off about this situation, you know?
Yeah, man. I think that's like really natural as well. It's like when you go through something like that. Obviously, I can't relate, but obviously I've seen what it's done to you as a person, how it's made you grow. And I remember that summer when it was 2018, when we had that summer when everything kind of kicked off for us, like with the blind-eyed stuff. I always thought that was real special to be able to be part of that with you, like. Because I remember we were sat in some restaurant once, and we'd just been shared on Instagram by Alfie Days and Zoe, and our Instagram was going mental, like, and we were like, oh my god. And I remember us looking at each other and going like, this is so sick.
But it was so cool because you were like busking musician, like started as well, and I knew how much it meant for you. I knew how much it meant for me to be like sat there being like,
oh look,
things are blowing up for us right now. Like, what?
And then we started seeing the videos, and like all the videos were doing really well. But it was more like it was being able to experience that so by chance, and like all the stuff that happened, like all of it was so by chance. Like none of it was none of it was like prepared for. No. Literally, the only thing was prepped was the music video we made for the original version of Blind Eyed that we'd made 2 years ago. But we just sat on that for ages.
And we never really thought that it was going to be like this big.
Never, man.
That, like,
we just got up one morning and just decided to go for a bus.
But I think the coolest thing about that was like, if that had just happened to me, it probably wouldn't have been as cool, because like I knew for a fact how much you were striving to make that happen, and you knew for a fact with me, even though I wasn't pushing it, like how much it meant to have come out of this illness, and then like the thing that I've wanted to do my whole life suddenly starts manifesting. So I was like, I had this being like, to see how happy it was making you, and then you to see how happy it was making me. That was cool. Cool.
I remember those times when we'd pull up with our wheelbarrow with the amp inside it.
Yeah, literally walking around with a
wheelbarrow. But everyone in Brighton would see us and stop us and be like, hey, are you doing the bus later? Yeah, I'm going to come down. And then there'll be like, by the end of the summer, there'd be like 600, 700 people on the street. We'd have the police there having to lock it off. And that felt like, and talking about...
I remember there was that day where we turned up because we were always a little bit late. The whole
everyone
street
just looked at us.
Was there waiting for us, and there was like no joke, it's like close to 1,000 people, police on either side of it, and we were like, this is just from an Instagram story that we put like an hour ago.
Okay. And that's how powerful it became. And like, I'll treasure that always, because I think that like experience, as you said, like experiencing that on our own would have been really really cool. But like, you wouldn't, it's nice to know that throughout my life, if I ever want to like kind of talk about that, I'll always have someone who literally understands it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if I'd done that on my own and like told it to people, like no one would truly understand or appreciate it.
Or know that feeling.
The industry kind of, I feel like we helped like change things for young. I think a lot of people look at it. I've seen people cover Blind Eyed, like busking and stuff. Like people actually covering that.
Being a musician, sometimes it looks like a little bit unattainable, because you've got all these, especially when you've got all these flashy music videos, fancy cars, like people in that has been like a standard of pop music for a while. So when you see just like a video of two kids out on the street looking a little bit scruffy with a guitar playing it, and then also being able to be successful online, like it makes this all of a sudden makes it accessible. So if you're a kid from like, you know, me, like broke kid growing up, and you go, oh cool, I could just do that. All I need to do is grab a guitar and learn, get out on the streets, and I can actually do that. Like I don't have to have this big like flashy show. And I think that's why it went down really well, because there was no bells and whistles.
That was it, man. Well, it's been really sick speaking to you, man. I really appreciated it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, cool. Sweet.
Very cool. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe that wasn't Sam Tompkins. It was hard for me to tell, but the reason I thought it was is because I'm pretty sure I heard that's how he met him, was busking, and this guy's name was Sam, and they were busking. So either it's coincidental or it's him. I couldn't really tell because he had the hat on, and the last time I saw him, he wasn't wearing one. So I could be wrong about that. But, I mean, nonetheless, you did get to hear some things about him that were, you know, you got to learn about how long he was sick. I didn't realize it was 8 years. I knew it was a while, but, I mean, to be, like, misdiagnosed with Lyme disease for so long, and then he compares being in isolation and being inside his room for so long because he was sick, and then he starts to feel better, and then COVID basically happens, and then he's stuck in isolation again, and which is interesting because if you remember that song we reacted to the other day, Jessica, that looked like that was shot in a bedroom. So like that's probably part of the isolation he was talking about, whether that was COVID or I think that video was like 7 years old. So that probably goes back to more like when he was sick. So
Right. And somebody did clarify in the comments that that was his actual bedroom,
yeah.
because we weren't sure if that was like a studio or something. But yeah, that was his actual bedroom.
So it correlates for sure.
Yeah, I just checked while you were just talking. I did check the description of that video we just saw of the interview, and you are correct. It is Sam Tompkins.
Yeah, all right. Well,
So good job. I only
ding,
seen
ding,
him
ding,
once,
ding.
and he had a hat on, so I didn't know a Scully cap on or whatever. So I didn't even put two and two together.
yeah, part of it was I just feel like that's something you would call your buddy. Like if you're having an interview with somebody that you don't know or something, like you would probably think, oh, the interview is with Eric Davis, or something like that, not just Sam. I mean, so I felt like it was his buddy. And then as soon as you started talking about busking and they did that together, I'm like, it's got to be him because that's how they met, I'm pretty sure. So it makes sense. So that was like two friends talking. So, but he got to open up to him a little bit. Obviously, they were comfortable around each other and
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I liked something towards the end that Ren had said. I mean, because this was cool. First of all, this was really, really cool because we've only seen Ren and his musical element.
Right.
We didn't know him as a person, and like that little short 8-minute clip said a lot. Like at the end, when Ren was like, I was so happy, like he was referring to Sam, I was so happy, like seeing you happy, basically, and then you seeing me happy, and that's cool. That's a cool friend thing to do. It shows right there that Ren is not all about himself. Like because he's becoming successful and stuff, he still has a friend. Like they started from nothing, busking or whatever, and him being happy for each other, like that's true friendship.
Yeah, it was almost like he was happier for him than he was for himself.
Right. So that made me really have a high level of respect for Ren because, a lot can happen to a person when they're stuck inside their own home, like literally from being sick. I mean, 8 years, I can't imagine 8 years of having symptoms. 8 years. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine 1 year of having symptoms stuck at home, but 8, oh my God.
I talked about this on a previous video, but we have a lot more subscribers now and they probably didn't hear it. Like I told you, you know this a little bit. I was misdiagnosed for, I don't know, 12 years for, I had to have my gallbladder taken out. Like, what was it? Like 2007. So it's been a while, but from the time I was like, I don't know, say like junior in high school, maybe like junior high-ish. I was getting these pains and didn't know where they were from. And I was constantly at the nurse and they couldn't figure it out. We think it's this, it's that, it's every test. Put you on this medication, on that medication. Nothing fucking works. It keeps coming back. You're like, what is going on? And finally, after 2 days of absolute agony, after dealing with this for over a decade, and, I go to the hospital with an absolute intense flare up and they figure out that I have gallstones. And the reason they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me is because I didn't fit the category of anybody that would typically have it. At the time, I was in my mid-20s. I was in a very, very good shape. And the symptoms normally were for people that were over the age of 40, women, and pregnant women. So I wasn't over 40. Last time I checked, I wasn't a woman, and I definitely don't think I'm a pregnant woman. So I didn't fit the category, and then they only figured it out because I was literally having a flare-up as they did an ultrasound, and they determined it that way. So they figured it out. They took out the problem, and I haven't had an issue since. But I was miserable, and the problem about it was you didn't know when it was going to come. So I was always fearful about going out and doing things because if I got caught in a situation where it came up, like I was basically out for the count. It would put me in the fetal position. Like, so the last place you want to be is out, like, hanging out in a bar, and the next thing you know, you're going into like agony pain. So like, it made me not want to do shit.
Football game or something in the middle of thousands of people. Yeah,
absolutely. So it makes you almost want to isolate. It makes you almost want to stay by yourself because you don't know when it's going to come. And then the more you think about it, the more like your anxiety of it almost can trigger it. So like, it's crazy. So finally, when they got to the root of the issue, the issue goes away, and I live a normal life, and everything's fine, and I haven't had problems in years. But I can relate to it in that sense.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, but I can relate to it in that sense. Totally different sickness, but understanding what it's like to be told this is your issue this is going to solve it, and it doesn't solve it, and then you just remain in the same circle over and over again. So,
yeah, that's good.
you
That's
know,
good that you had mentioned that. Yeah, especially for people watching for the first time, because it makes you understand the things that we take for granted. So like Philly had said, I mean, a person would think, it's nothing to like go to a bar, get a drink or whatever like that. You don't pay it any mind, but to be fearful almost of going to a bar because you don't know when a flare up of magnitude is going to happen, so you pretty much won't go like to one of your favorite places or something.
yep.
That that alone, just thinking about that sounds horrendous, let alone living it. So I can understand where you're coming from. I mean, appreciate, things like that. And like for me, like when nothing compared to your magnitude, but like when I broke my ankle, the things you take for granted, like I didn't even want to go to the kitchen. I was like, I'll wait until I'm starving before I take a trip to this damn kitchen, because every movement in the crutches was like I was walking a mile in sand.
You,
So
you
the
should have
things
put your bed in the kitchen so you didn't have to go anywhere.
well, I got a lot of stuff that was not perishable for real, so I didn't have to go to the kitchen. I mean, I was living off snacks and, and ordering rotisserie chickens, and as soon as they got there, I ate it. I'm like, I don't have to go to the kitchen for this. So it was a hot mess. So, but I can still relate as far as you not wanting to go anywhere. The things you take for granted, like just to walk around the corner or drive around the corner, like driving around to the local store, like I couldn't even do that. But anyway,
Yeah, I get that.
but yeah, that was a great interview. That was our like I said, it was our first time actually seeing Ren out of his element of singing or rapping, and to get a feel of him as a person was really cool. He was, I mean, I know that was his friend there, but I still feel like if it was an interviewer who he didn't know, I just feel that he would still be like laid back and cool and genuine and not like cocky. He doesn't seem to have that type of thing in his body at all.
In an 8-minute interview, that was not a long interview, but I will tell you there were two important questions or answers or whatever that to me as somebody that's just learning about him is one of them was how long was he sick for, like what happened to him, because you knew he talked about it, but you didn't know exactly the depths of it, so you got to hear a sense of what that was all about, and also how he got his start. I mean, we kept talking about how far back did it go. I knew he did busking, but I didn't know that that's where the root of it started. I thought maybe that was just part of what he did. It sounds like he really just went outside and started garnering a fan base, and it grew and grew and grew, and he met people doing it, and he collaborated with them and kind of grew this organic fan base, which is kind of cool, man. He did it without a record label. I don't know if he signed to anybody now. Maybe he is, but regardless, he kind of started independently and got to a position where, he's putting out music that is so different and unique to a lot of other artists. So I appreciate it. It was cool to get a little glimpse of him, not just behind a microphone or a guitar. So yeah, it was fun. It was cool. It was cool to check out.
Yeah, same here. So that's pretty much it. As I said, this is the first reaction interview. There is no ass or pass, but we're saying we enjoyed the interview.
I give it a pass.
I give it a pass too, but so we like it.
Yeah, we like it. Yep.
Say how you feel about it in the comments. Did you learn something that you didn't know about Ren? Or was there any questions that you would have asked if you were the interviewer? And let us know what you think about this reaction interview. So other than that, close us out, Philly.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here and checking out our first reaction interview. We appreciate it. You could be anywhere in the world. You spent the last 24 minutes with Tazzz and I as we checked out a little bit of Ren and a little bit more of his personal life, and it was very cool to see. So from myself, Philly, that is Tazzz. It is the Tazzz and Philly show. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you guys soon, and peace.
And take it easy and keep it breezy.